Newcastle was nervy, Everton scuppered by a storm, and Girona, well, that was just a grind. But this afternoon, Liverpool are back at Anfield, and they have the opportunity to strengthen their position at the top of the Premier League table. The Reds take on Fulham today. It is a 3 o'clock kickoff, and that's when we'll bring you live audio commentary of all the action. Welcome along to Matchday Live, where today I'm joined by former teammates Jason McAteer and David James. Plenty of time to get their thoughts on today coming up. But first, let's bring you the news of Liverpool's starting 11 for today's Premier League clash. Just one change for the Reds from the team that lined up in Spain in midweek. That sees Cody Gakpo in from the off, replacing Darwin Núñez, who drops to the bench. So the Liverpool team in full then is Alisson. Becker retains his place in goal. It's Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Luis Diaz, Dominic Szoboszlai, Mohamed Salah, Curtis Jones, Cody Gakpo, Andy Robertson, Ryan Gravenberch and Trent Alexander-Arnold. On the bench, it's Kelleher, Endo, Núñez, Chiesa, Elliott, Jota, Kwanzaa, Morton and Naoni. We'll get to the team in a second, but first, gentlemen, welcome. Good to have you both here. I've worked with you both plenty of times, but I don't think I've worked with both of you together to bring all the memories flooding back, being alongside your former buddy, your teammate.
I love Jamo. I miss him. We don't see as much as each other as what we used to. Obviously, playing together, we were together all the time, weren't we? And then you lose touch, and we move different parts of the world, and then we bump into each other at Legends games and events. And he's always good company, always good value, Jamo. So we've shared many emotion together, haven't we?
We have. Can I leave now?
Yeah. You're filling up with tears.
I want you to turn around and say I've not missed Jason at all.
He probably would say that,
yeah. No. We had some wonderful memories here, and every time we meet, we talk about the memories and what joy we had at Liverpool. So it's nice to see Jason, especially over the festive period.
We used to live 2 minutes from each other, so I was often round his for my tea.
I was often out.
Or putting cars in swimming pools, I remember once was another time. That's another story.
Let's save that for post-match if things are struggling. In terms of today, obviously the frustration of the game against Everton, the fact it couldn't go ahead, a bit of a disruption, but ultimately, given the lead at the top of the table, it didn't change the complexion of things too much. Liverpool still find themselves in this wonderful position.
I think in a weird way, the way that this season's panning out, the Everton game being called off was a good thing for Liverpool. Everton would have been buoyed after their 4-0 victory. Liverpool had that hard game, as you mentioned, against Newcastle. A long travel back, because I believe they got the coach back from Newcastle midweek, which wouldn't have helped preparing them for the Everton game. So actually having that time off where they could only have to then focus on Girona, which is a good win, another good win, it put them in a good place. And today is going to be a difficult game, but the preparation, I don't think, could have been planned any better.
Yeah, Girona was a good win. The game, perhaps not all we wanted it to be, not all that Arne Slot wanted it to be as well. We'll touch on that a little later in the programme. But I guess it was notable for the return of Alisson Becker. And we'd had this debate with every good performance Covina turned in, when people started debating, is Ali going to come straight back in? But he kind of underlined why he comes straight back in. He's just got that level, hasn't he? He's just a little bit better than everyone else.
I don't want to take anything away from Covina. I thought he was outstanding the games that he played. I mean, some of his decision making, the penalty saves will be remembered, but it is unfortunate he's got the world's number one ahead of him, and it was only a matter of time before he was going to be fit. I don't think it was a big problem for Slot to put him back in. I think that all the players knew where they stood. But as for Girona, he was probably worked a little bit harder than what the manager thought. It wasn't a great performance by Liverpool. I felt they did have another couple of gears if they needed it, but they probably were at a half pace. But just going back to what Jamo was saying about Everton, I actually think it was a good one to miss for Liverpool. I know on paper, where you look at Everton, where they are in the league, and Liverpool flying, you'd probably say it was an easy 3-pointer for Liverpool. But I think after the emotions of Manchester City, after the emotions of Real Madrid, it might have been one of them games where they were just a little bit flat. Last game at Goodison as well, they would have been up for it. I think that might have posed a bit more of a challenge than what we actually thought it would have been. So I was happy it got called off in some senses. And today we're back to the bread and butter, as it were. Not as glamorous as Real Madrid or Manchester City, but games that Liverpool must win if they're going to win this title.
Yeah, vitally important match here today. We just touched on Ali coming back in midweek. Perhaps more of a workout than the manager perhaps would have anticipated. He was a busier man than perhaps he thought he would be, but he just seamlessly came back. Given you've played that position, how impressed are you by his ability to come back in like this?
Well, there's a couple of factors to this, and as well as Cueva's done, the third goal against Newcastle wasn't his best moment. And then you ask yourself the question, and one of the strengths I think that Arne Slot has got as a manager is that if he's got someone who could fill a role better, he's not afraid to put them in there. And with Ali coming back to full fitness, it was the perfect opportunity. Plus, there was never going to be an argument. Had Liverpool won that game 3-2, there might have been a different decision. Ali, take another week, perhaps. So in a way, I say his hand was forced, but there was a simple transition. Ali is the best in the world, and if the best in the world can't perform like he did against Girona, then you're not going to be the best in the world. And I think the good thing is he had a lot to do. Obviously, came off the field without any injury scares, which is always going to be a question mark when you come back from injury. How fit are you? Well,
what is it, Jamo, with a keeper? Is it when you're out for quite a number of games, what is it that you lack when you come back? Is it sharpness?
I think it's yes, just sharpness. I mean, the irony of this is you can work on everything in training. The problem is, especially for Liverpool, when you've got lots of games, training opportunities have become minimal. So the preparation has to be right. Ali's had a long time, arguably, to get ready for the game. He would have been enthusiastic to get out and play. But also, when you are... We say it like it's a throwaway thing, but he's earned the right to be considered the best goalkeeper in the world, even if there are certain bodies that don't represent him as the best goalkeeper in the world. Going out there and doing what he does, it's normal. And it's not the first time that Ali's had to make big saves in order for Liverpool to win 1 or 2-0. You know, that's why he's the best, because when they need him, they can call upon him and he produces.
Jamo mentioned the Newcastle game and the error towards the end of the game by Keller. In that game, Curtis Jones scored what was a really vital goal. That marked his 150th appearance for this football club. We touched on that up at St James's Park. For you, how much have you been impressed with the way he's developed in recent seasons and managed to reach that landmark? And he's not just played the games, he's making big contributions now.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I love Curtis, but he's frustrated me over the past couple of seasons just because of the talent he has, and he doesn't showcase it enough for me. He sometimes is too safe. Under Jurgen Klopp, certainly. But he's been around a long time. He's developed. I think he's at the point with this new manager, not so much new now, but Slot, where he feels very comfortable playing the way Slot wants to. It's more patient. They work their way through the lines. It's ideal for Curtis's tool set. So, yeah, and he's showing it. Listen, you can't just go in a team and not produce. You've got to go in and show something, and he's really done that. He's had the baby as well, which was great for him. We didn't know how that was going to handle him sort of off the pitch, but he's taken to that as well. He seems to be coping with that, and I think he feels that now he is looked upon as first choice. He's not just a bit part player. He's not like the fourth choice, fifth choice midfielder comes in when someone's injured. Now it's actually Curtis, you're going to play, and it's like, okay. And when he's not in the team, it's like he's being rested and it's fine, but I'm going to get back in. I'll be playing the next game. I'll play the next game. I might be rested. I'll play the next game. So he feels really a vital, important component of that midfield.
You know, you're a local lad. You made nearly 140 appearances for this football club.
It's difficult, Mark. It's difficult because there's an expectation. I think you get looked after a little bit more when you're a homegrown player. I think the fans are more accepting.
I wouldn't know.
But
Jamo's like, I wish.
No. They just love Jamo anyway. But yeah, and you want to produce it. All your family, you know, are all Liverpool fans. All your mates are all Liverpool fans. There is a pressure, and you have to, you know, step up to that expectations. And it can be tough, but there's plenty of players who have done it. Robbie, Maka, Stephen, Cara. Yeah, there's plenty. Even Trent. So he's in good company.
And McAteer. Okay, the team back on home soil today then. Just the one blip here so far, but Slot knows they'll need an improvement on the showing in Spain if they're to overcome Fulham this afternoon.
If we wouldn't have conceded the amount of chances we conceded, I think I would have put a bit more positives about it. Now we also relied on our goalkeeper, so if you don't play well but you hardly concede anything, that is still a very positive thing. There were also a few positives to take. The amount of shots we blocked, we defended some situations a bit better or different than we did against Newcastle, and the second half performance was already better than the first half. We controlled the game much better than the first half. But if we want to If a game is not that good, you can't concede the amount of opportunities we gave away in the first half. And with opportunity, I also mean the amount of times they could just go over our midfield and just keep on running till our 18-yard box. And that will, if you play against even better teams, will harm you at a certain moment.
You serve as a kick up the backside, even though you might not necessarily need one.
I don't think we need one, because these players have been outstanding in every single game. This wasn't our best performance, but it was still good enough to win a Champions League away game. We're going to face Fulham now, which have done really well till now this season, and we should have a much better performance against them than we had against Girona to be able to get a result.
They've taken quite a few points off some of the top sides recently. Fulham, just how dangerous a prospect are they, do you think?
Yeah, because of that reason, definitely. But you can only take away points from these teams if you have a lot of quality yourself and you have a good game or a good game plan, and that's what they have. They work really hard as well when they don't have the ball, which is one of the reasons not to concede goals, and that is what they've done against Arsenal. I think they only conceded from a set piece. Against such an attacking threat as Arsenal, that probably tells you how well they are organised and structured. And they beat Brighton as well, which is a team that is so comfortable with the ball. So probably they are able to defend really strong. They are able to defend really strong, and they always have the threat of being a threat in the counter attack because of the fast players they have up front and the goal scoring abilities they have over there as well.
When you came to Liverpool from Rotterdam, you had an image how it would be working at the top club, at the top level. Is there anything what is completely different compared to what you thought it would be?
No, the good thing was that I already worked at a top club. Like you know, these two are Dutch. These two come from Feyenoord. So I already worked at a top club. The difference is that it's all a bit bigger over here. So the training ground is a bit bigger, the country is bigger, so we have to travel longer, and that takes more effort. And the quality of the league is much higher than the quality in the Eredivisie, which makes it every game a battle to get your points, because at my former top club I worked, Feyenoord, we could 7 out of 10 we could easily win, but here it's 10 out of 10 games that are difficult to win. That's the main difference in my opinion.
Yeah, the thoughts of Arne Slot, though. You saw at the top of that VT, the manager being presented with his Manager of the Month award, crowned as the best boss for November in the competition, and justifiably so. But he was a frustrated man in midweek, David. Normally a 1-0 away win would be pretty satisfying for a boss, but that was probably as frustrating as we've seen. When we include the game here against Nottingham Forest, he was not happy in Spain on Wednesday.
I kind of get it, because as a manager, you want your team to be going out there every game and producing the top form naturally. And when you've got the riches that he's got at his disposal with regards to performance, then you should expect that to happen, especially against Girona, whose Champions League form is not good. I think it's 1 win and 5 defeats now. But the problem is they're top of the Champions League. They're going to qualify straight through. They're not going to have any playoff issues, and therefore the game didn't need to be won in a progression sense. It was just a matter of winning, and which is what they've done.
So it's human nature that you just don't.
It's very difficult. I mean, even the changes with Ali in there. I mean, there's a number of changes in the team. So all of a sudden it's like, well, we've got to go to Girona. We're top of the thing. Right? As long as we don't lose and we win, we're okay. That's not good enough for Arne. And again, I like this because he's showing that he expects his team to be doing what they're doing every week. Even if they're winning, they need to be performing. And I suppose in a way it goes on the back of not having the Everton game, which they could have won, but having the Newcastle game, which they drew, for the team that is expecting to win every game. So I get it. As long as he's consistent with this throughout the season, and I think this is what we're seeing, then the players will get it and they'll understand what they need to do or they're expected to do, and they have to win well.
I totally get it. I mean, listen, they've set a standard,
yeah,
and you've got to stick to that standard. Unless you don't, I mean, obviously City have dropped away, Arsenal push, Chelsea will push, but still they won't be far away at the end of the season. You've got to keep that standard, because it's games like now you can't just turn up for Real Madrid, you can't just turn up for Arsenal, you can't just turn up for Manchester City. You've got to turn up today against Fulham. And again, it's one of them where it's back to at Anfield, it's Fulham. But you still got to win the game, you still got to out and produce. And if you just slip off 10, 20%, likes of Fulham will punish you, and you'll drop points like they did at Forest. So JMO's completely right. They've set the standard, and the manager wants it every week, and they've got to drill it into the players, and they'll produce.
Speaking of standards, Mo Salah continues to set his own standards. He scores today, he goes level with Billy Liddell in Liverpool's all-time goal-scoring charts. Do we have to sort of accept that no matter what else happens, he is written into the folklore of this football club now, just for the numbers alone of what he's done? Because when you start to speak of him in the same breath as the likes of Billy Liddell, and you think, wow, that's something different.
We've done games since the beginning of the season, and at the beginning of the season I was saying to you that I felt Mo was having a better season under Arne than he was in previous seasons. The goal numbers weren't necessarily staggering, but it was more about his all-round play, control of the ball, his part of the build-up rather than losing balls and stuff like that. Now he's adding the goals as well to prove goal tally is turning into an exceptional season. Liverpool fans around the world, Liverpool fans listening to this, watching this, they know that Mo is a legend at the club from years ago. He is only cementing that view, I think, now. He's going to surpass, if it's not today, it will be in the coming near weeks. He's going to surpass that record. He's going to start setting more records. The guy is unbelievable. I've loved him, and I've had a lot of ambivalence for him. A lot of times he's frustrated me because of the ability he's got and what he hadn't done at certain times. But this season, everything's coming to fruition for him. And to break the record, especially today, would be great, because it would be probability then that Liverpool would win the game. So it'll be a nice day to do it.
Joint top scorer in the Premier League at the moment, 13 goals to his name at this point. His numbers are looking good. What is good today, from the manager's point of view, he's got the likes of Jota in the equation once again, Chiesa in the equation perhaps, so a little bit of competition in the forward areas. If he needs to chop and change it through the course of the match, not necessarily at the start of games.
Yeah, it's good to bring that quality back into the squad, isn't it? You know, they have been missing for a large number of games now, and we know that the quality of both players, maybe not so much Chiesa, but certainly from Diogo Jota. But yeah, I mean, I've said it a number of times, listen, is consistency of picking the same team was becoming a bit of a problem for me. I know you've got to implement your philosophy and your strategy and everything. I know you've got to get them all singing off the same song sheet for how you want them to play. But I just worried coming towards the end of the season whether they can keep that standard, whether all these players can play that amount of games. So in the sense of having other players as options to come on and replace players is always good. And I think he will start doing that. Like Jemo said, there's no problem with the Champions League now. You know, Christmas, there's a lot of fixtures coming up. He'll have to rotate. So some of them will get an extended rest. McAllister's had a bit of an extended rest as well. So it's great to have that quality back in the squad, Mark, yeah?
I tell you what, we don't rotate. That's with our match commentator. Steve Hunter is always the man on the
Legend.
mic, and he is once again.
John
Steve, another
Aldridge.
massive...
John Aldridge.
Well, let's find out. Steve,
be.
who is alongside you today for commentary of the game against Fulham?
Well, thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, everybody. It's not Aldo. I don't know where he is. Probably in a lounge entertaining somewhere as he does. But former Red Neil Mellor is with us for this one here today. For the traditionalists amongst you, it's good to have a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, isn't it? Technically, our last home game before Christmas, this, isn't it? Because the Leicester one is on Boxing Day, so I'm sure the atmosphere will be amazing. If it is going to be amazing, as hopefully it is. I remember last season's game. We played Fulham 4 times last season, including the Carabao Cup semi-final. And that first one, that league game, was unbelievable. That was like unprecedented levels of pure excitement. And it was a tough game as well, because I remember Fulham also had a goal disallowed for VAR as well. They were causing problems with set pieces. They led 3-2, and on 87 minutes, Wataru Endo at the Kop end has hit this rocket that has nearly took the roof off Anfield with the noise that followed it. A few minutes later, Trent Alexander-Arnold at the Kop end. A stunning winner. What a goal that was. What a moment. Remember me and Natasha Dowie, the goal machine, were on our feet for that one. That was amazing. And then again, we were a goal down at Anfield when we played them in the first leg of the Carabao, but we turned it around. But Curtis Jones was brilliant in that game. He turned the match for us. He scored. And then Cody Gakpo got the winner. Then the away game, Luis Diaz got a magnificent goal. We sealed our place at Wembley. And then some great goals down at the Cottage as well. Remember that stunning Trent Alexander-Arnold free kick. Ryan Gravenberch scored a great goal. And Diogo Jota back in it today, of course, also registered for Liverpool. Let's hope he can make a big difference. Great to have Jota back, isn't it? We've missed him. Mark, it's back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, do join Steve for audio commentary later on if you can. OK, it's time for viewers on social media to leave us, but our Matchday Live build-up will continue on LFC TV after the break. If you are watching this and you aren't yet a subscriber, though, you can still sign up. Details are online at liverpoolfc.com/watch. OK, coming up in the rest of our pre-match show, we'll look ahead to the game with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah. Plus, we'll hear from former Red Craig Johnson, who's back in town. Just before kick-off at 3, Stephen Neil Mellor will guide you through all the action with our live audio commentary service. Then, after full-time, we're back down pitchside to look back at the game. That post-match show will also be available to listen to in the reaction. That'll come later on the club's official podcast platform. And you can watch the full game on LFC TV from 6 p.m. tomorrow. And don't forget to look out for Inside as well. That'll take you behind the scenes of events here at Anfield today. That'll be on Facebook and YouTube sometime on Monday. We are heading to a break just now, but if you are sticking with us on LFC TV, but coming up next, we'll focus on Fulham. We are back very soon.